Salute, salute, salute. This is Unapologetically QI entering the building. Y'all, please make sure y'all smash that like as you enter the building. Well, today, y'all already know what it is. It is the conclusion of the jury selection for the Sean P. Diddy case. So they concluded with the jury selection today. Now, the prosecutor said that there were almost 17 that were going to be left. It was up in the air, but they managed to seat 12 jurors. So they took a lunch break. After the lunch break, or I might be a little off, they might have did opening statements before the lunch break. And after the opening statements, they brought the first witness to the stand. So let's see how that went, right? Okay, so I was over there on Law and Crime, and they did a poll to say which one did the most compelling argument during the opening statements. And at a 73% landslide, most people said prosecution. So let me explain if y'all don't understand what prosecution is. Prosecution is not the side of Diddy, right? The defense is the side of Diddy. They're trying to defend Diddy. Well, let me go back a little bit. At 11:22 a.m., helicopters came in. Helicopters arrived. 11:28, the jury began hearing opening statements. So that was before lunch. Okay, judge urged jurors to avoid media because media influence decisions. So like while they're for these 8 weeks that they're supposed to be in trial, um, they can't listen to like any media. They have to refrain from listening to media, news, social media, anything that would influence their decisions when it comes down to this case. Now, the first thing that was done was the charges was read out by the prosecution. And we know that the charges are racketeering, conspiracy. This is a federal RICO. And it is sex, TRAF. Y'all know what I'm saying? Traffic light. Because we can't say that on YouTube only. Then it's kidnapping, weapons, and drugs. And transportation. My bad. Kidnapping, weapons, and transportation. All right. Now it has to be proven by force, fraud, coercion. So let me break that down. What force, fraud, or coercion mean? Let's go with force. Force is the DV. Force is assault. Force is aggression, physical aggression. Okay. So either they're gonna have to prove that these acts, these charges, racketeering, conspiracy, the sex violation of minors and all, kidnapping, the weapons, and the drugs were through force, which we know that it's going to be physical, aggression, threats, and so on. Now, fraud, that's the next point that it has to be proven by. Fraud is, y'all know what it is, scamming, lying, misleading, telling somebody that things are supposed to work out one way when they really intend to make it work out another way. All right. Coercion. Now I'm gonna have to go back and get a better definition for coercion. But I mean, basically, it's like working together almost. It's like both parties working together to pull off something. But I'm gonna get y'all a better definition on that. And just for the first charge, which is the sex violation, is 15 years. So they add year. It's charges that go by each year. I mean, by each charge. It's years that go by each charge. All right. Now, Teeny Gallagher. And let me tell you who Teeny Gallagher is. She's an attorney. She's a defense attorney for Diddy. Now, Teeny Gallagher is the daughter of Mark Gallagher. And if y'all watch TMZ, he appears on there. Now, he's represented a lot of high profile celebrities. Now, I'm just going to say, my bad, Mark, but I haven't heard that he's the best attorney because he hadn't won a lot of cases. Now, I haven't looked up the statistics for his daughter yet to see what that's going to look like. But one thing I can tell you about Mark Gallagher is, according to Nancy Grace, he's a misogynist. When he found out who the prosecutors were, 6 women, he called them the six pack of women. And if you listen to him on TMZ, most of his statements are misogynistic. In fact, He was the one that I think that had a great deal to do with the fact that, the defense, Teeny, Garriga, Brian Steele, and all of them are gonna rip poor little pregnant, poor little old pregnant Cassie Ventura apart. Now let's think about this. Who actually makes you guilty or innocent is the jury. So imagine you see somebody walking up there and they look like they're 8 or 9 months pregnant. Uh, and then you hear the defense ripping them apart. Imagine the optics of it all. So I'm just trying to help us build this situation, right? Okay, so they said that when Teeny hit the stage and she introduced or was trying to give the jurors information on Sean Diddy Combs, she painted him as this larger than life figure, right? A celebrity, blah blah. He did so much, blah 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 blah. All right. So she came out there trying to make him a great man. And she also, their opening statements also were they're running with consensual. Running with relationship because in their minds, Cassie Ventura was the star witness. She was the key witness. So, basically their decisions to tear her down was based on that. They was like, we're going to tear down this key witness. We're going to tear down this star witness and we should win the case, right? Or not necessarily win it where they will put Diddy, you know, um, off on all charges, but they at least want to reduce the charges down to some DV or something like that. They wanted to make it not the the Rico and racketeering case, and I'm gonna tell you in a little bit why that's important. That's very important. Let me go ahead and tell you now. All right. So during this case, there's a lot of information that's gonna come out. So even if it's not Diddy, it can be other people's. There are going to be other people. There are charges to follow. So the prosecutors were really smart. What they're doing is building the RICO and racketeering, the federal RICO and racketeering, and they're starting with the case. And the reason they have to do it that way is because of the money. These are people with money to pay off, to witness tamper, to do a lot of things. So they need people to hit the stand. They need people to talk. They need people to open up the new situations, the new charges, right? So the more that people talk, the more charges that would be added. The more people who would get charged, okay? So I just want to paint that picture. But like I said, they're starting off with the recent charges or the charges that are now placed on him uh with relationship because they were looking at Cassie as the star witness. So they was like, we're gonna break down the prize, right? But the prize walked in there 8 to 9 months pregnant. So how is it gonna look with them sitting up there trying to make her look like the worst? Not just that, she looks like based on what she looked like when she was with Diddy, she now looks like a family woman, a mother. And this is not her only or first child. And this child is by her current husband, Alex. So now she looks like a wife. So regardless of what they painted her like to be with Diddy, that could have been coercion, manipulation, something she didn't necessarily agree with. And women and children are, prone to that. Manipulation, like, okay, I'm the man of the household. I got all this money. You want this contract, you want this music contract, you want to be successful, uh, you want a great life, you have power. I can blackball you in society. All of this stuff matters. You know what I'm saying? It's a mental or psychological type of game. All of this stuff matters. Okay, so that's where the coercion comes in. But based on what they're trying to paint her to be then with Diddy versus what she looks like now as a mother, pregnant mother, secure and healthy looking, I don't think that's going to work to their benefit. Also, the prosecutors presented that Diddy told his workers that they could pay for a sole copy of footage for $100,000 in cash in a brown paper bag. If that ain't something. So, your workers who are under your subordinate, they're working for you. So they're pretty much doing what he tells them to do so they can earn their paycheck or get their paycheck, right? So, your workers who found out that everything in that household was videoed, was scammed, coerced, or whatever. If y'all don't want this to hit mainstream media, give me $100,000 and I'll give you the sole copy of this video. Once again, that does not look too good. Also, let me not forget that guess who is in New York, y'all? Jasmine Wright. Jasmine Wright is in New York for the Diddy trial on the first day of the Diddy trial. Now, people are expecting her, or people were urging her, or whatever, to do something crazy. Let's hope that she doesn't. But who can't know who Jasmine is when it comes down to this Diddy situation? They expect Cassie Ventura to be on the stand for at least a week. So this is going to be a detailed. Um, this is going to be a detailed questioning. They still have not found victim number three, or victim number three hadn't stepped forward. But y'all, it's not going to look bad because in this type of situation, especially when they talking about witness tampering, because I tried to find documented proof, but they said that Diddy had phones in his cell. They said he was paying off people in the MDC. They said he had special designer clothing in there. They said he had special cooked meals. They said a lot of different things. They said that they have evidence of where he did witness tampering. And we all like heard that pizza, get rid of the pizza boxes and the plastics. And he said, Jay, well, I heard that call. Now they do AI, so but I couldn't find no concrete evidence from anywhere that was reputable or a reputable resource. So I'm just gonna say allegedly as of now. But everybody's trying to paint this picture like because victim number three doesn't want to come forward because she's looking at it like if she has been threatened, if she's still in the land of the living, if because that's the question everybody's answering, is she still living? But if she's in the land of the living and she was threatened, most people who've been through these types of situations, these type of aggressive situations, they go through fear. And it takes sometimes you can never get rid of that state of mind, the Stockholm syndrome, the all of that, the PTSD, the all of that comes behind being mistreated. And trust me, the court understands. And if they don't understand, I'm sure the prosecution is going to make sure that the jurors understand that these type of situations happen. Now they are hoping to present three witnesses Okay, now we know Cassie is one of them, and the escort is one of them. And I just have Jane Doe. But we already know that the first witness on the stage was the head of security from the Intercontinental Hotel. And his name was Israel Flores. He was a LAPD, uh, and he was also the head director over the security for the Intercontinental Hotel. Now, he was the one that had to respond to the call when people told him that there was a woman that was, being attacked. He didn't know who it was or anything. And it's that March 5th CNN video. So he had to respond to that. And I think that it is great that the prosecution presented that first, because that is setting a precedence. So, like the defense is saying that they're about to go up there and try to slaughter poor little pregnant Cassie. And guess what? Guess what the defense and Diddy's gonna look like? Just guess. Think in your own mind, seeing that you saw this video, you saw what he did, you saw him kick her, you saw her trying to get away, and then you see this defense trying to paint her as consensual, as a part of the game, as liking the game. So there we go right there. It's gonna make Diddy look like who Diddy is. That's why you need some women jurors. Them 6 women look like they whooping butt. Now they did all the opening statements before lunch break. And defense is also, like from the rumors, defense is also going to try to make this a race-based case. But you can't, because Diddy's not poor. Diddy's not oppressed. Diddy has lived a life better than the average black person. Diddy has rubbed hands with some of the higher ups. Diddy has jets. He has mansions. So how are you going to say that this is a race-based case? It can't be done, because it's not a race-based case. It's really based on behavior. And if anything, if we would say anything, it would be based on money. But you can't even say that when it comes to Cassie, because she's already been paid. So, in my opinion, it does not look so good for Diddy, because it's like the prosecution came out here swinging. The defense is using them same old Negro spirituals, them same old lines from the conscious community. It's the black man, but the black man, but the black man. But it don't work when you one of the richest black people in America. So this was just a real quick update. I'm going to go more into detail tomorrow. Right now, I'm just, trying to run through some of these quick points to keep y'all in tune to what's going on. But tomorrow, we're going to really, 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 really break it down, because we got to break down what Flores is saying as of now. Or a little later. I'm going to tell you a little later. I'm probably going to come on a little later to give you another update, because, court hadn't ended yet. But until next time, I appreciate everyone. For the replay gang, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and by all means, share. And I'm going to give you the most comprehensive breakdown that I can. Once again, it's unapologetically QI, and I am exiting the building, peace, love, and all that.